All right, hello and welcome future teachers. If you're gearing up for the Meghalaya Teacher Eligibility Test, or MTET, you know that the Child Development and Pedagogy section is an absolute giant. So today, we're going to take that huge syllabus and turn it into a clear, strategic roadmap to help you ace it. Okay, let's get right into it.
So you look at that list of 7 key topics, and yeah, it can feel like staring up at a mountain you're supposed to climb. It is super easy to feel overwhelmed. But what if you had a map? What if there was a way to group all these ideas into a logical journey? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Build a step-by-step plan to conquer this syllabus.
And here it is. This is our roadmap. We've taken all 7 of those official MTET topics and sorted them into 4 logical parts. First, we'll start with the absolute fundamentals of child development. Then, we'll move into the practical tools for observing your students. After that, we'll tackle the real heart of modern teaching, inclusion. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the core skills of teaching and assessment. So, let's start at the beginning.
Part 1 is all about building your foundation. I mean, think about it. Before you can teach a child, you have to understand who they are, how they think, and how they grow. This section covers those essential principles of development all the way from childhood through adolescence.
Now, as an upper primary teacher, this distinction is absolutely critical. A child in their later childhood years is still very much grounded in the here and now, in concrete, hands-on thinking. But an adolescent, that's a whole different world. They're starting to deal with abstract ideas, trying to figure out their own identity, and going through massive physical changes. Your teaching methods have to be able to bridge both of these worlds, because they'll be coexisting right there in your classroom.
So, to really get a handle on these stages, you have to know the giants of the field. Piaget, he helps us understand how a child's thinking actually develops, step by step. Kohlberg, he gives us a framework for their moral reasoning, the why behind the choices they make. And then there's Vygotsky, who reminds us that learning doesn't happen in a bubble. It's all shaped by a child's social and cultural world. Seriously, these aren't just names to memorize for an exam. They are lenses that will help you see your students so much more clearly.
And this brings us to a concept that is so important in a modern classroom, the difference between sex and gender. The syllabus is really clear on this one. Sex refers to the biological stuff, right? But gender, that's a social construct. It's about the roles, the behaviors, and the identities that a society expects from someone based on their sex. Understanding this is really the first step to breaking down gender bias and creating a learning space that's truly sensitive and fair for everyone.
Okay, let's move on to our second part, which builds directly on the first. Now that we understand the theories of how kids develop, how do we actually see it happening in real life? Well, part 2 is all about your practical toolkit, the methods you'll use to observe, to assess, and to really understand each and every student as an individual. Just look at all these tools at your disposal. Think of these like a doctor's diagnostic instruments. A case study lets you do a deep dive into one student's journey. Anecdotal records are like little snapshots, capturing those important moments as they happen. And a student portfolio, that tells the long-term story of their growth, told through their very own work. Mastering these methods is what takes you from being just a lecturer to being a truly responsive, observant educator.
Now we get to a topic that is at the absolute core of great teaching today, inclusion. And let me tell you, this isn't just another section in the syllabus. It's a whole philosophy. It's about how we create classrooms where every single child, especially children with special needs, doesn't just survive, but truly thrives. The most important part of this is right there in the definition. In an inclusive classroom, the system changes to fit the child, not the other way around. It's a massive shift in perspective. Instead of asking, can this student fit into our classroom, we start asking, how can our classroom adapt to fit this student's needs? See the difference? It's huge.
And this right here clears up a really common point of confusion. You see, integrated education is just about placing a child with special needs into a regular classroom. That's it. But inclusive education goes so much farther. It's about fundamentally redesigning the teaching, the materials, and even the physical environment to make sure that child can fully participate and learn right alongside their peers. One is about placement, the other is about genuine participation. Okay, on to our final section. We've understood the child, we've learned how to observe them, and we've set up an inclusive space. So now what do we actually do? This is where the rubber meets the road, the core strategies for teaching and the right ways to assess learning.
The MTET syllabus really pushes for this big shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered approaches. The old model, was the sage on the stage, where the teacher has all the knowledge and just delivers it. But the new model, which is inspired by people like Piaget and Vygotsky, is the guide on the side.
In this approach, the teacher is a facilitator, helping students build their own understanding. Your job becomes less about giving answers and way more about asking the right questions.
So how do you actually do that? Well, it all comes down to solid lesson prep, and this three-step process makes it so manageable. Pre-teaching is your blueprint, planning goals, getting resources. The teaching phase is the actual action, the activities, but the post-teaching phase is absolutely crucial. That's where you reflect, what worked, what bombed, and what kind of extra support do my students need now. It's a continuous loop of learning and improving.
And finally, let's talk assessment, because it's not just about grades. Assessment for learning is like your ongoing checkup, the quick quizzes and observations that tell you what to teach next. Assessment of learning is more like the final report card, the big test that measures what was learned. And maybe the most powerful of all is assessment as learning. This is where you empower students to check their own progress and take real ownership of their education.
So there it is, your 4-part roadmap to mastering the MTET Pedagogy syllabus. It really all boils down to this. First, you understand the developing child. Second, you observe them using your toolkit. Third, you build a classroom that is truly inclusive for everyone. And fourth, you master the art of learner-centered teaching and meaningful assessment.
So we've taken that huge mountain and broken it down into manageable hikes. You literally have the map right in front of you. The only question left is, where are you going to start? So take a look at your study materials, pick a territory to conquer, and start your journey. Good luck!